right, good morning, guys. Got a lot going on right now. Home and carpet cleaning and everything under the sun, it seems like. But I wanted to make time for this. It's funny the way the universe, when you start moving towards something and you know everything's coming to fruition, how the universe like moves in to support you. In the last few days, my paper being almost complete, more just keeps coming out. A rock art in Utah that clearly shows the great man casting thunderbolts down on the animals. A scientific article just released that specifically says that the minerals in certain asteroid chunks, that like there was one that had fallen into the desert in the Sahara, and we talked about that, and they didn't know where it come from, and so now they're confirming that it came from a collided planet, right? We all know some of us know that was the Greek goddess Metis, who crashed into Jupiter and thus helped to birth Venus. If you go back and read the Greek myths or my paper, that will become clear. What else was put out? Found this article on Uranus and how strange its magnetosphere and how strong it is, right? Remember that planet was considered one of the gods, right? Hades, Poseidon, which was Neptune, and Hera, Hera is, from my research, is Saturn with the rings after it was no longer a star. So Cronus gave birth to these four, meaning that we moved away from behind Saturn, and we could now see all of these gas giants in a line in the way that they used to be. And so thus birthing four different planets, unless one star was actually stripped into four by the movement of Sol, our current sun, into the system. It could have possibly pulled them apart, but I think it's the collinear polar configuration. There's good math behind that. I've linked that in the paper, so find it fascinating. Listen, there was another thing came up yesterday, and well, there were two things, but I can't honestly remember the subject of the science that I wanted to talk about. I'm sorry, it came up last night. It might have had something to do with Enceladus. I am not 100% sure. Although I will make a note that somebody was commenting about radioactive decay. Guys, we don't know what's inside our own planet. We don't know exactly how the sun is inside. We certainly don't know what is inside of the moon. So, I don't know though what it was I was going to talk about with Enceladus, if it was Enceladus. However, at work yesterday, did have an important discussion with a patient. All right, so we've talked about before the 5 pillars of health: physical, mental, spiritual, social, financial. Now, if you were to then look at the 5 substances of the body, 3 substances of the body, and the 2 substances in our life that most affect us, of course you have spirit, chi, and essence, and then you have your money and your time, which I like to call your green chi, because money could be any kind of exchange of, could be barter, or it could be any kind of commerce exchange. Here's the problem in America. Here's the brilliance of the fractional reserve system is that you keep borrowing from the future, which is a lot less finite than the amount of gold. The downside, of course, is the law of conservation of energy and mass. That energy is coming from people's health and their essence, and of course sweat equity, and even from the children. So then the children start to, become affected and even more obese. So the problem in America is that a few people have arranged the energy to flow towards them. They're from banking cartel families. This goes all the way back to the 1800s, goes all the way back to the end of the Civil War, when America was first corporatized, which you can search and find the law that was passed that turned America into the United States of America into a corporation. So ever since then, slowly the energy's been cranked to where certain people are becoming richer and richer and richer. It's not that there aren't a few people that could also become richer and richer through, basically good products and services like Bill Gates. It's that certain families, vis-a-vis the Rockefeller family, the Morgan family, the Chase family, continuously got rich. Now, fast forward to hundreds of years later, it's really anybody in that system who takes advantage of that system, whereas the rest of us, we're just food for the machine. And the reason why that works is that over time, being that your time, not the time, but your time is finite resource, if they can control that, then that's going to control your mind, right? And then if your finances be drained or controlled, now you've got two here. And of course, where's chi going to go? Well, you're going to put your chi back towards that. So you're going to be drained. So now your essence is being drained. Now what's left? Spirit. And so spiritual health in America is on the decline. It's really bad in Asia, where they've totally westernized. I mean, they go full force. I have a friend in from South Korea, and he tells me over there you got these guys working 20-hour days and getting so drunk at night that they're getting in trouble. And the suicide rate is super high because they have no balance. They've lost all of that over there because they went full into the industrialized world. They just barreled right in. They said, we're going to do this. We're going to catch up. And because they did in South Korea and China, the offside of that is the lack of mental and spiritual health. And so there's a huge spiritual crisis in places like China and Taiwan. So this spiritual health and the spirit substance being in lack, of course, that's the one that, what did Jesus say? He said, those who have some in the hand will have more, and those who have none will have less. Which makes no logical sense, but it does actually work out that way. So today, treat yourself well. Think about those. Say, you know what? Am I being skewed? Am I being pulled over here by my time and financial to where my physical and mental health are being pulled away? You know, in which case, what's my spiritual health doing? And am I really stopping to take care of what's important in my life, which, you know, start with yourself, and then also, of course, the people around you and your connection to something greater. So hopefully this video is helpful, and I hope that you have a great day. It's really beautiful here, and I will see you next time.